Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah. The Frida's Cleaning Service is a small family-owned business established in 2003. With over 17 years of professional, high-quality, and greatly satisfied service, the Frida's Cleaning Service will get the job done. Specializing in sanitizing your home, business, post-construction, and commercial cleaning, no job's too big or small. See for yourself and give us a call, 567-249-9172. La Frida's Cleaning Service. Our reputation is always spotless.
It used to be hard for this family to run and play in their yard. That big pooch left its business all over. Dad would spend his time cleaning up puppy messes. Now, I make sure the yard is clean so they can play without worry. Yes, there really is a poop fairy.
Do you have questions about buying or selling a home, not sure if you qualify? Your local real estate agent, Antoinette Ware, is here for you. Do you live out of town, moving out of town, or looking for investment property? Well, let's work together and make it happen. Antoinette Ware can be reached at 419-917-6258. The name you know, celebrating over 20 years, serving Toledo and surrounding areas.
Hey, it is Smooth Tim. Thank you for dropping by and spending another Wednesday hump day on Tim's Tidbits, where you can catch all the domestic and international topics of concern to you, and also you can stay tuned to the end of the show and see who our asshole of the week is. Just remember, we are here to inform, not to influence you, just to let you know what the hell's going on that maybe the mainstream media doesn't give to you. Anyhow, let's jump right into tonight's show, and this was a good one. And it seems that the Biden administration wants to decriminalize marijuana. And right now it is a Schedule I drug, right up there with heroin and all this other stuff that's highly addictive and can kill you. And they're talking about putting it down into a Class 3 drug, which would reduce a lot of the penalties involved in either possession and or cultivation of marijuana products. And, well, hey, check us out. And I think it's a good move because it'll be interesting how they make a decision to release some people who are serving time for maybe a small amount or, of possession. Check it out. See what you think. It's going to happen.
Cannabis changes. The Justice Department said to make a major adjustment in federal restrictions on the use of marijuana.
Ryan Nelson joins us live tonight in Miami with what this all means. Ryan.
Yes, this is not simply just about the way the federal government categorizes marijuana. The change of scheduling can have legal, medical, economic, and social implications.
For more than 50 years in America, marijuana has been listed among the world's most dangerous drugs. But tonight, sources with knowledge of the decision say the Biden administration is looking to reclassify the drug from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Schedule 1 is the more serious drugs that includes heroin, methamphetamines, and LSD.
The change would not legalize recreational marijuana, the possession and distribution of which is still a federal crime, but would recognize it as a drug with medicinal benefits and less likely to lead to addiction. Brady Cobb is founder and CEO of Sunburn Cannabis, a medical marijuana treatment center in Florida, and former lawyer and lobbyist.
The name Sunburn Cannabis comes from my father's unique story in cannabis. From 1977 and 1983, he was one of the largest smugglers of cannabis in the history of the Justice Department. He was indicted, went to prison in what was dubbed Operation Sunburn.
Cobb, whose life has been shaped by marijuana and its legal status, calling today emotional and historic.
It's a bit bittersweet. I mean, it's obviously vindication for something that I've long believed. Cannabis was actually on Schedule 1 when fentanyl was on a less restrictive schedule at Schedule 2. So that just shows you some of the injustice that cannabis has faced.
Public opinion has shifted dramatically in the last 20 years, from 34% of Americans who believe marijuana should be legal to 70%. Nearly half of states have legalized marijuana for recreational use. The change reigniting conversations around restorative justice, says Melba Pearson, director of prosecution projects at FIU, former prosecutor and activist.
Now you see more states, especially notably California, looking at these cannabis convictions and saying, you know what, it's kind of unjust for someone to be serving time presently for something that is now legal or to not be able to apply for a job.
But tonight, one opposition group says the cannabis industry has lobbied heavily to
sell
demonstrably harmful products and calls out the Biden administration for a, quote, thinly veiled attempt to reverse polling trends.
Yeah, they're going to call it out like he did it for some political stunt or some BS. And, you know, I mean, it's just been acceptable. You know, it was highly acceptable when I was back in the high school. I'm not even going to tell you my age, but it was acceptable. You know, people never looked down on, marijuana users. Now, again, as he mentioned, heroin and LSD and some of these other drugs, well, yeah, you know, you're kind of looking at an individual and wondering, you know, why are you doing that to yourself? But in any regards, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the release or even the abolishment of some of the various convictions. I'm sure some of them will be either overturned or they'll just wipe them off the books for these people who had some minor convictions on marijuana offenses, that is. We'll see what happens. Be interesting to see, but I don't believe it's necessarily a political stunt, as they tried to put it. I think it's more like that's just the consensus of the people of the United States would like to see marijuana legalized. There you go. Now let's move on. You know, it's crazy that you can't really feel freaking safe anywhere, and it just so happened that again in a church. Violence erupts, and you can't be safe in the mall. You can't be safe out in your home, and it's terrible that you can't even be safe in church anymore.
Some terrifying moments unfolded, and they were caught on tape during a church service in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania yesterday when a man pulled a gun on a pastor. This happened at Jesus' Dwelling Place Church in North Braddock. The incident was caught on video as that service was being live streamed. The attempted shooter, who police identified as 26-year-old Bernard Polite, walked up to the pulpit and aimed the gun at Pastor Glenn Germany, but thankfully the gun jammed. Another church member jumped in to tackle Polite and disarm him.
Once they raised the gun up, I jumped up, you know what I mean, from behind, got him from behind, struggled him down to the ground. I forgive him for what he did. I just mainly thank God that, you know what I mean, that nobody got hurt.
The gunman was arraigned early this morning for attempted homicide, and there's a brand new update coming in this morning. Police found a body inside a search of the suspect's home last night. They say that a man had been shot to death. No one has yet been charged in that case. As for the church shooting, the pastor says he'd never seen Polite before. Court papers claim Polite confessed that God told him to do it.
Okay, wow, God told him to do that, right? I mean, that's just insane. That guy just... And he wasn't even associated with the church. That's the interesting thing. You know, he had the pastor saying he's never seen me before, and God told him to go shoot this pastor. And then they found another dead body in his home. So, yeah, this guy is definitely weird. And what's more horrific is that you've got individuals out like that with guns. Totally off the chain, totally off the hook, got absolutely no agenda other than to hurt somebody because God told him to do it. Okie dokie. We'll keep up with that one also. Hey, also, the 2020 election is still contested by Trump, and he was asked on a particular talk show coming up in regards to the 2024 election, because it's like pretty dead heat between him and Joe, who's going to win this election. And he had a couple of comments that I think should be of concern to you. So, hey, check it out.
Good morning, George. And a reminder of what happened in 2020, Donald Trump is once again refusing to say whether he will accept the results of the presidential election, and he is suggesting there could be violence if he loses. Donald Trump is making it clear he is only ready to accept the results of the election if he likes them, telling the Milwaukee Journal, quote, "If everything's honest, I'll gladly accept the results. I don't change on that. If it's not, you have to fight for the right of the country." In another recent interview, Trump dismissed the threat of violence by his supporters, saying, quote, "I think we're going to have a big victory, and I think there will be no violence." He suggested the lack of violence depends on who wins. "I don't think we're going to have that. I think we're going to win." But he added, "And if we don't win, it depends. It always depends on the fairness of an election." And in a speech overnight in Michigan, Trump recounted how he did in fact ask the Secret Service to take him to the Capitol on January 6th. In an interview not long after the attack on the Capitol, Trump told me that if he had gone during the riot, he would have been well received.
I was thinking about going back during the problem to stop the problem, doing it myself. Secret Service didn't like that idea too much. I could have done that, and you know what? I would have been very well received.
Trump's comments about the possibility of violence echo something that his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, told me as Trump was preparing for this presidential run. I asked Bannon if he was worried about violence, and he told me no, because we're going to win.
So there it is. According to Donald and his cronies, it's probably already on his transition board that he thinks he's going to be getting into the White House, is already saying, if the election is fair in our viewpoint, then we will accept it. Otherwise, who knows? He might call in the Proud Boys, tell them to stand by and stand down again. I'm sure you all remember that. So just, hey, this guy is not right. He's definitely not right to be in the office of president. I thought we would have learned our lesson, but hey, it seems that somehow he's making another run at it that I don't quite understand. And he's got his cronies in his pocket. There's a few of them that are just hoping like little school kids that they can, be his VP pick. And one of those morons, I shouldn't use that name. I'm sorry. I don't mean to call names. So anyhow, one of the people in line hoping to be the VP pick is Tim Scott. And he was on, over the weekend, he was on one of the news shows, and they inquired of him, in regards to election results. And it seems to be a Republican thing. Check this out.
Will you commit to accepting the election results of 2024? Bottom line.
Well, at the end of the day, the 47th president of the United States will be President Donald Trump, and I'm excited to get back to low inflation, low unemployment.
Wait, Senator, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter who wins?
That is my statement.
Is it just yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024?
I look forward to President Trump being the 47th president. Kristen, you could ask him multiple times.
Senator, just a yes or no answer.
So the American people will make the decision.
But I don't hear you committing
for President Trump. That's clear.
I don't hear you committing to the election results.
Here's the challenge.
Will you commit to accepting the election results?
This is why so many Americans believe that NBC is an extension of the Democrat Party. At the end of the day, I've said what I've said, and I know that the American people, their voices will be heard, and I believe that President Trump will be our next president. It's that simple.
But, Senator, as you know, the hallmark of our democracy is that both candidates agree to a peaceful transfer of power. So I'm asking you, as a potential VP nominee, will you accept to commit to the election results in this election cycle, no matter who wins? Just simply yes or no.
I expect President Trump to win the next election. Listen, I'm not going to answer your hypothetical question when, in fact, I believe the American people are speaking today on the results of the election. And if it continues for the next 6 months, we find ourselves in a great position where we get back to another century of American prosperity. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to him to answer the damn question. But yeah, he was slippery on that one. He wasn't about to commit to anything. Will you accept? Tim Scott, there you go. There's your potential VP. So now you know that your presidential pick for your Republican presidential nominee sitting in various courts around the nation. And then you got this gentleman, Tim Scott, who's saying, again, just like Donald, reiterating, if it's fair. So, hey, there you go, Anyhow, hey, let's get into a little advertisement and be right back after this.
Has this ever happened to you? You're sitting in court again, under pressure and stress, and then a warm feeling comes over you, uncomfortably warm.
Uh-oh.
It's pressure, all right. Down there. That's when you need Trump diapers. Trump diapers, the elite adults incontinence product for owning libs on the go while you go. Trump diapers contain a comforting, patent-pending fiber that's the ultimate in pulling fluids from your delicate orange skin.
I always look orange.
With Trump diapers, you can sit all day in luxurious comfort, whether you're busy ending democracy or just rage posting on social media without consequence. Trump diapers let you spread Russian propaganda all day in dry comfort. And Trump diapers make insurrection easy. You'll never need to poop in the Capitol again. Trump diapers, for when you're losing your shit in more ways than one.
There you go. On sale now at your local convenience store. Trump diapers. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed that. But hey, one of my favorite actors is Robert De Niro, and he was on a talk show, and he was asked a couple of questions in regards to our former president, number 45, and see what he had to say about it was this. Right dead on point, actually, and, some of you may or may not agree with it, but anyhow, De Niro definitely blasted Trump, so check this out and have a laugh or two.
Does it give you some sense, not of joy, but of relief at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences? Because, as you've said before, this guy's a con artist, and he's gotten away with it for years.
No, he's more than that to me. He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system. And I'm not calling him, I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency.
You've played a lot of bad guys. Would you ever play Donald Trump?
Never. There's nothing about him. There's not one redeeming thing in him that I can see ever. And it's funny, I was just thinking that he actually became president. He could have done good things. Instead, he had to do it all wrong. He's so, as we all know, so narcissistic and self-centered.
What do you say to those who say, I don't like the guy, but I'm going to vote for him? What's your message to them?
I don't understand it. I don't think they understand how dangerous it will be if he ever, God forbid, becomes president. I don't think they really understand. And historically, from what I see, even in Nazi Germany, they had it with Hitler. They don't take him serious. He looks like a clown, acts like a clown. Mussolini, same thing. These guys, I don't know why, they look like clowns. They somehow, people, that element of society identifies in some ways with them, but it would be chaos beyond our imagination. There's no mystery about him. He's right out front, and what he says is what it'll be if he becomes president.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course. But democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. It's beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
It is freaking scary. He's 100% correct. The guy's off the chain. You know, when you make threats to, you know, NATO, either, you know, pay up or suffer the consequences, and it sounds like, come on, you're running a syndicate operation, or what the hell's going on there? I mean, wow. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. Maybe you should listen to De Niro, you know, not just necessarily taking the information that I'm giving you. As again, I told you, I'm here to inform, not to influence, and I'm going to let you have it just like it is out there. So you're going to get the truth. And, hey, part of the truth came out Tuesday, as a matter of fact, when the porn star, Stormy Daniels, took the stand in the Trump hush money trial. In regards, you know, he never had anything to do with the situation. Can't even remember who she is right now. She had some pretty vivid details of something that never happened. So check out some of her testimony. It's not her direct testimony, but you get the gist of it.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels taking the witness stand in the New York criminal hush money trial against former President Trump, detailing an alleged sexual encounter she claims they had at a 2006 celebrity golf event in Lake Tahoe. With Mr. Trump staring straight ahead and the jury captivated, Daniels describing how a bodyguard asked her to have dinner with Mr. Trump in his hotel suite. Daniels says she arrived to find him in silk or satin pajamas, adding she told him to change clothes, which he did. She says they talked in his room for 2 hours, and eventually she went to the restroom, saying, quote, "When I opened the bathroom door to come out, Mr. Trump was on the bed in his boxer shorts and t-shirt. I wasn't expecting someone to be there minus a lot of clothing. I felt the room spun in slow motion." Then saying, quote, "The next thing I know, I was on the bed. I had my clothes and my shoes off. I believe my bra was still on." Daniels testifying in explicit detail how they had sex, and afterwards, quote, "It was really hard to get my shoes on. My hands were shaking," adding, "I felt ashamed that I didn't stop it or say no." Mr. Trump visibly uncomfortable, shifting in his chair and muttering profanity during the detailed testimony, even nudging his attorney, who repeatedly objected. At one point, Judge Juan Merchan interjecting, saying some of the details were, quote, "just unnecessary," while shutting down
Talking
more
about his
graphic
penis,
lines of questioning. Team Trump outraged, demanding a mistrial, which the judge denied. Daniels also describing the hush money payment she accepted just before the 2016 election, selling her story directly to Mr. Trump for $130,000, a deal brokered by then-Trump attorney Michael Cohen. A payoff that she says was her best option to keep herself safe without the story going public. Prosecutors allege Mr. Trump falsified business records to conceal the alleged affair to influence the election, charging him with 34 felony counts. Attorneys for Mr. Trump firing back during cross-examination, attempting to discredit Daniels by characterizing her as an unreliable narrator whose main motivation was money. Trump attorney Todd Blanche describing Daniels' sordid details as highly prejudicial, at one point saying to the judge, "This is the kind of testimony that makes it impossible to come back from. How can we come back from this in a way that's fair to President Trump?" Mr. Trump, who has been repeatedly fined for violating a gag order, making no mention of Daniels while addressing reporters after court.
The trial is a very unfair trial. It's a very, very unfair trial. The good news is they have nothing.
You mean they have nothing? That's what Stormy said about you, Don, that you have nothing. Look like, what is it, Mr. Toad? Mr. Toad from Mario Kart. Oh, Lord. I'm sure, yeah, so that's probably some of the testimony the judge just decided you don't need to get quite that explicit with Stormy Daniels up there, so I would imagine. And Michael Cohen took the stand today. I'm yet to hear what Cohen has to say about all this. But wow, that's interesting. And that's the same, and that was at the same time Melania had just had Barron. So Melania's at home nursing the baby, and Donald's in Florida nursing his little toad. Wow. Anyhow, hey, let's move on just a tad bit. And this one kind of concerns everybody. And keep an eye on this one because this is important, people. And it seems like our Social Security, and there's a lot of people on it, could be in jeopardy. They say this occasionally. But, hey, if they're saying it, listen to what they're saying.
John, new government estimates this afternoon show the Social Security trust funds that support retiree and disability benefits are set to be depleted by 2035. Now, that is 1 year later than forecast last year. And at that time, the fund would only be able to pay out about 83% of benefits. On the Medicare side, there's a slightly better outlook. The Hospital Insurance Trust Fund that covers hospital stays will be able to pay 100% of benefits until 2036. That's 5 years longer than previous estimates. Now, the Treasury Department says that these upward adjustments are mostly due to a stronger than expected economy as compared to last year's forecast. More Americans are working and they're earning more money, and they're therefore contributing more money through their taxes to these programs. Treasury is also assuming a lower long-term disability rate in these programs, so both increased revenue and reduced costs here are helping extend these timelines. Despite the improvement from last year, though, it's still clear that these programs will have to start paying less than full benefits out to about 70 million recipients in just over a decade, unless Congress makes some sort of a change before then.
Well, that's kind of depressing news. So, yeah, 83% of your benefits, yeah, they'll reduce it too to help it survive. So if you're making $1,000 a month from Social Security, which most people make a hell of a lot more than that, you're only going to get $830. So good luck telling your landlord, your utility company, everybody else you owe money to for your car loans, I'm going to have to reduce your benefits because Social Security reduced mine and shit. So it is what it is. Keep an eye on it, though, anyhow. And, hey, talk to your representatives. Don't let something like that happen. There's too many people dependent upon that for, just living day to day. And also, then, they're talking about on the medical side of things in 2036. So, that's only another 12 years out. And keep your eye on it. Can't let that happen. Like I said, get in contact with your representatives. And if they're not going to listen to you, get somebody new in there. Get somebody that will frickin' listen to you. Anyhow, hey, it is time for the moment of, dude, what the fuck? And I ran across this, and, would they talk about the great replacement theory? You've heard that, right? And sometimes I think it may not necessarily be as we perceive it coming. Check this out. Yep, there you go. There's your pets are gonna be automated robots now. That was just a trip to watch that, and how they had a program to dance and shit. But hey, I guess you don't have to worry about it feeding it and the pooping. I just started to rethink that you might have to oil your dog once in a while, and or plug him in to keep him charged up. By then, well, who knows? Who knows? That was just too much. It's amazing what they're doing with robotics and that goes along the same lines as with this AI. Something we need to be wary of. It's interesting the progression of what's going on out there. We're starting to see automated trucks, driverless trucks going down the highway. We'll see how far it goes. Another thing for us to keep our eye out on. Anyhow, hey, let's get to another favorite part of the week. And I know you have been waiting for this, and this is our Asshole of the Week award. And this is a well-deserved award that goes out to some teens down in Florida, apparently.
Now at 11, it's video that caused outrage across South Florida and beyond. Tonight, 2 teens caught on camera dumping trash into the ocean have been arrested.
The Florida Wildlife Commission says they have turned themselves in. Good evening, I'm Jim Barry.
And I'm Lauren Pastrana. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward talked to the man who shot the viral video.
It's the splash people near Boca Inlet saw coming with the tide. Boaters in this now viral video dumping cans of trash into the ocean.
You know, they would definitely catch them, because especially with that video, you know.
Days later, 2 teens turned themselves in, but it was hardly a cinch.
This was deliberate. I mean, this was as bad as it gets as far as, dumping is concerned.
Wavy sports photographer Seth Stern, whose job is to record boaters, caught the group on camera near the end of Boca Bash. He says rough waters kept most captains away, but this group cruised out anyway.
They went out, they dumped the garbage, they came right back in. They didn't hang out there. They didn't they weren't fishing. They literally went out there with the intention of dumping the garbage and coming right back in, and that's the outrage for me.
It angered others who saw his video posted online. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission investigators took a copy. Tips on 4 potential witnesses led them to Boca Raton High School. According to arrest records, they met with the school resource officer who found all 4 students. 2 of them admitted to being passengers and identified the 15 and 16-year-old boys who dumped the trash. When officers approached the father of one of the boys, investigators say the man said that his son, as you know, is a minor and they are in the process of retaining legal counsel. Officers say the man then added that this is not a representation of who we are. Around 3 Friday afternoon, both teens were in custody.
Good.
Each face a felony charge for pollution.
The camera doesn't lie. They were caught on camera making a mistake. If they were trying to run from it, it would only make it worse.
That was a smart thing for them to do, because they realized they messed up, by doing all that.
It is not clear what punishment either suspect faces, but Stearns, the photographer, is hoping that both have to spend hours cleaning this beach.
Some good community service. That's what their dumbasses need. That's exactly what they need. Get your ass down on that beach and clean it up. And throughout the whole damn summer, they don't realize, how much wildlife, what they could, from the fish to the reefs, everything is affected when you dump garbage into the ocean. When you dump garbage anyhow, anywhere, if you're that damn lazy, carry a sack around with you and throw it out at the nearest garbage can. Don't just throw it on the ground or throw it in the water. Come on, people. We have enough problems with our environment than, to have some crap like that going on. So let's use this thing that we got in between our ears. How about that? Anyhow, hey, that pretty much wraps up the show, and I super, super, super appreciate you spending this amount of time with me on your Wednesday evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to inform you on some things maybe or maybe you didn't know, or enlighten you on some things that, may have just, skimmed across your plate, whatever the case may be. But in any regards, thank you. And let me run out some analytics, actually, from last week's show, because I really appreciate the people in Australia, France, Ireland, Africa, Poland, Germany, Mexico, Canada, the UK, and the US of A for tuning on in and watching the show. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment box off to the side of the video. And otherwise, hey, it's a wrap. And until next week, folks, we'll see you. Have a great week.
It was over 1 million. That's how many people died due to my tragic mismanagement of the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1 million dead Americans. And then there was the violent insurrection that I incited, where even more Americans were killed. A veritable ocean of felony crimes, 2 impeachments, and America was humiliated on the world stage. It was a dark and deadly time in America, and we don't ever want to go back. And that's why President Joe Biden is leading America back to true greatness. The economy is soaring, unemployment is near historic lows, and the nation is finally recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic that I mismanaged. Under the strong leadership of President Joe Biden, the stock market is at a record high, and with President Biden's leadership, unemployment is at record lows, and more Americans are experiencing economic success than ever before. President Biden is a transformative leader who turned America around after I took a giant shit on the economy by fucking up the handling of the pandemic. I lost 3 million jobs and unemployment was nearly 7%. I'm the most despicable sack of shit who ever disgraced America's political landscape. But President Joe Biden is a leader America and the world can be proud of. He's a man of principle, and his wildly successful presidency stands in stark contrast to my hideous and embarrassing incompetence. That's why I am extremely proud to give my complete and total endorsement to President Joe Biden for re-election. Please join me in re-electing Joe Biden as President of the United States this November. Together we can finish the job for the American people.
May I, Joe Biden, and by God, I approve this message all fucking day long.